Mr. Jardosh,
Yes, sir.
can you tell me about your childhood? When and where were you born? In which atmosphere were you brought up?
I was born at Surat, now in the state of Gujarat, Surat city. And at that time, my grandfather, he was a headmaster in a government school. And my father, he was doing practice on the taxation side, income tax matters. And he was a High Court pleader. And we are a middle class family, not so rich. We belong to a very middle class family, consisting of my grandfather, grandmother, mother, father, uncle. We are just a joint family. It was a joint family. And I was born on the 25th day of September 1923.
What is the religion of your family? Which community you belong to?
Yes, we belonged to Vaishnava sect of religion. That is Hindus, but Vaishnava sect. So it's a special religion followed by Vaishnavas who belong to Lord Krishna.
Can you tell me more about that? What it particularly means?
We have got temples everywhere. We Vaishnavas, we are idol worshippers. We worship the idol of Lord Krishna, and we have got so many temples round about and spread all over India. And we are pure vegetarians. Vaishnavas are pure vegetarians, and we belong to a very large area of Hindus. They are Vaishnavas. There is no question of caste or anything. Amongst Hindus, all the castes, sub-castes, they are all concerned. They can follow Vaishnava religion. So that was a very wide religion.
And how did your childhood home look? How many rooms have you had at home? How many brothers and sisters lived there?
Yeah, we had a two-storied house, and one was the ground floor, other was a first floor, and second floor. This consisting of small rooms, 10 by 10, and small rooms, but it contained the entire family. I had 3 brothers and 1 sister. My eldest brother was Mr. Chandrakant Jardosh. He was also a freedom fighter. He expired. Then I was number 2. After me, my another brother was there, Mr. Madhusudan Jardosh. He had chosen teaching profession. He was a teacher, he was a headmaster. Then he shifted to London and established himself in London. Unfortunately, after staying there for about 15 years or so, he had some trouble and he expired.
You all got good education? What sort
Yes,
of education did you get?
All our brothers were all graduates. My father and mother also took good care to see that we are educated. We are sent to school and colleges, and there was no restriction about that. They were very liberal-minded and very cooperative, guiding us, giving us inspiration for studies. Because my grandfather was a headmaster, and most of the prominent persons from Surat city, Diwan Bahadurs and Rai Bahadurs and big advocates, and they were all students of my grandfather. So my grandfather had earned a good name as a very fine teacher. And all big persons, they used to revere him like anything.
What were the political affiliations in your family? The political...
Yeah, politically, you see, politically, we are interested in the politics of the country. But actually nobody had taken any active part in politics. No. We are just good citizens and lovers of our country. We loved our country. All our family members had love for the country.
So how did you get involved in the freedom movement?
Yes, because in the freedom movement, we are just reading the history and of our country, how India was under bondage for 150 years or more, and how the Britishers were exploiting our country. And so these things came to our mind because we were good readers. I used to go to library, I used to read all sorts of magazines, including political magazines, and that way we are interested. Apart from it, we are also interested in the big leaders of our country. And in Surat city, when these big leaders came, we used to throng them. We used to go, and we never missed any occasion to see our great leaders like Gandhiji. You will not believe I have seen Gandhiji at an arm's length. From very short distance I have seen him.
When was that? What was
that? Was at the time of when I was just a boy of 15 years old, when my father took us to the Bardoli's Congress meeting. Bardoli is a district in Surat. And
you were 5 years old at that time?
I about 12, 15 years old.
I see.
So my father took me along with him, and there I saw Gandhiji from a very short distance. I also saw Jawaharlal Nehru. He came with Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi was just a tiny girl at that time. So I saw her also, and almost all the great leaders of our country we had occasion to see. That was during the childhood days, and that impressed us like anything.
How do you remember this first meeting with Gandhiji? What did you feel?
I was very much impressed by his simplicity. He had only one long cloth, no other body, no other clothes were on him. He was just described as naked fakir by foreigners. But he used to see the economy of our country, so that India is a very poor country. People don't get food, people don't get clothing, people don't get enough opportunities, and how to lift this country from these economic conditions. So Gandhiji was interested in seeing that people spin their own clothes, and therefore he had started a charkha. We used to spin our threads, and from that threads we used to prepare our clothes. So Gandhiji had a foresight of this, because economically India was very backward. We couldn't stand in competition with any other country in those days. So, and India was residing in about rural areas of so many lakhs of villages. And so this message of Gandhiji was spread like this, because if the common people were to be brought in line with the mainstream, these things were necessary, and Gandhiji saw to it that yes, this will go to every house and it will bring something for them to earn and take out their living. So this was the idea of Gandhiji. So then after returning from Bardoli, And after seeing all these great leaders in flesh and blood, and we are just following the movements of the Congress party. At that time, Congress was the only, Indian National Congress was the only party, national party, and it was the British.
So Gandhi was the main hero of the people at that time, or were there other leaders people looked up to?
Yes, Gandhi was at the time when I came into the picture, Gandhi was really on the top. He was being followed by all other leaders. His advice was taken. And why Gandhiji impressed everybody? Because the British Empire was very mighty, having a big military, and Gandhi thought that militarily we can't cope up with British. We can't, just like other movements in the world, armed revolutions and everything, that was taboo. Because Gandhi thought that that will not bring independence to India. On the contrary, it will bring bloodshed and destruction, and therefore he had got the courage to face the British mighty empire British with his non-violent methods. He was transparently honest, truthful. He never used to hide anything. He came in, whatever he wanted to say, he stated on the face of it. He was not hiding anything. And this impressed the foreign rulers also, and this impressed the Indian population also. So that was the mantra, and Gandhi, by his non-violent methods, he was successful in shaking the foundations of the British Empire from our country.
How many times did you see him?
I saw him so many times. Because
have you had any personal
no personal
conversation with him, or any chance to talk to him?
No, that occasion could not arise.
Okay. But so how did you get involved in the, I mean, in what way were you involved in the freedom struggle?
See, when this Cripps mission failed, Sir Stafford Cripps came to India with a formula.
That was in 1941, wasn't it?
I think so. And that formula was not acceptable. Gandhiji went to Simla. In those days he used to travel by train. So he used to pass, from going from Bombay to Simla, he had to pass through Surat city. So I had been on the station, Surat station, to have darshan of Gandhiji when he used to attend that Simla conference. Along with so many big crowds, I was also there, and there also I had darshan of Gandhiji. He came out of the compartment and have namaste to all, and we wished him good thing. So that was also another occasion to see Gandhiji in flesh and blood. So
can you describe this situation more in detail, this atmosphere when the crowd stood on the platform and the train came in?
It was a terrific experience, because the crowds loved Gandhiji. We loved our leaders like anything. They were just like gods to us. So that was the influence which Gandhiji had, magnetic influence on the people, on the crowds. That was his personality. Of course, he was very thin and not hefty or anything, but he impressed everybody. That was the glow of his personality, Gandhiji's personality. A big glow. Just see him, big glow on his face.
Physically, there was a glow.
Physically, he was weak, he was emaciated, but the glow was terrific.
So some radiation was there, you mean to say, yeah?
Yeah.
I see.
So that was Gandhiji. And all big leaders used to consult Gandhiji in all the matters. And Gandhiji used to have a practice of going on a morning walk He was a very early riser. About 4 o'clock he used to rise, 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, have his toilet and all that, and then he used to walk miles together. And thereafter, after finishing his daily course, in the evenings he used to have prayer meetings. And after the prayer meetings, he used to address the people. And in that, he used to discuss everything, including politics and the present conditions, how the country should be made independent, what should be done. So these were the daily routine of Mahatma Ji. He was a pure vegetarian. He never used to eat much. He was a naturalist. He believed in nature cure. He used to advise people on nature cure also. He used to show means of how to put dust or on the eyes, keep cool.
Mud.
Matti.
Mud pack.
Mitti. So that was the experience.
Did you read his magazines? The
Yes.
magazines that were edited by him?
I think there were some magazines, but all we used to read because we in the college library, in school library everywhere, these magazines were available. So we used to read them. There were newspapers also, everything were there. We used to collect, but that was the interest we took in Gandhiji and Congress and independence movement.
So the inspiration came from him and his colleagues.
Yeah.
And how did it manifest in yourself? How did you participate in the freedom struggle?
Now when Gandhiji, on the night of 9th of August 1942, when he gave the message, do or die. So that was a final message, sort of a final message from Gandhiji. Either get independence or destroy yourself. Do something for the country or die. So that impressed me very much. And I thought that it's now no use prosecuting the studies. Let us jump into the fray and help the nation to get independence from the British.
How did you hear about this slogan, do or die? You were in Surat at that time?
Yes, because in the radio.
In the radio?
News. It came in the newspapers also. Of course, from 10th of August, everything was censored, and we didn't get news about the movement also.
But can you describe this atmosphere? You were at your home in Surat,
Yes,
and you listened to the radio?
Atmosphere. We used to hear radios very regularly. We used to have Philip radio from Holland, that small. So we used to get news from the radio and newspapers, local newspapers, Times of India and other papers. So we are also getting those newspapers at our home also, and we used to read it.
So listening to his speech and other leaders' speeches, it was a kind of clarion call to you
So
to involve yourself actively in the
there was
movement.
no television in those days, but we used to get it from the radio, from the newspapers, and details of the speech also are there published, and we just read it, and we are just inspired. And especially when Gandhiji said, do or die. So that was the final clarion call. And I think I thought that as a son of the soil, it is my duty to see that the movement succeeds and our country gets independence.
What did you do then?
Then I just brushed aside my books and started going to the Congress party, where daily meetings were held. But now those meetings were private, secret meetings, because the police were after them. Police were after arresting all sorts of leaders. Most of the leaders were arrested, and very few people were remaining out. So we used to construct some posters, prepare some posters, prepare these leaflets, which we use called patrika. So we just used to do that, and in the dead of night we used to stick the posters on the walls, because in the daytime we cannot do, because the policing was so intense that they didn't allow us. They used to make frequent lathi charges with people with sticks, wooden sticks, and so that was not possible during daytime. So in the dead of night we used to stick those posters, and just like newspapers, we used to pass on these leaflets, with the newspapers or with everybody house. We used to just put it. So we used to do that because there was no teleprinters or no press machine or at that time. So we used to do it and just cyclostyle them, put them there.
Did your family know about your activities?
In the beginning, no. But slowly and slowly, they came to know that I am not attending school, and but my father did not object. He was, on the contrary, helpful, and he gave certain tips how to do things about this. So that was most encouraging. Of course, my mother was very tender. She used to weep because she knew that sooner or later, sometimes I may be arrested by the police, or I may be beaten up by the police. So she was having tears at times, but she never objected to it or orally told us anything about it, discouraging us. No, she never discouraged us. So this way we carried on the movement, and on the 9th of February 1943, I along with two others, led a big procession.
You were not arrested on 9th of August?
No, I was not arrested. I remained outside. I persuaded college boys, school boys, not to go to school, not to prosecute their studies, but join the movement. And that was a persuasive request to them. I used to tell the professors also about leaving the colleges and all that and join the movement. And I think one professor got annoyed with me, and he tried to assault me also. Why you are doing this? You do this nonsense, this, that. So that was a type of people we had to meet at time, but we never opposed them. We never gave any response to them.
You were convinced it's the right thing you are doing, and you must proceed.
So in the meantime, some of the leaders were left out, and one day Mr. Kanhaiyalal Munshi was a very eminent lawyer from Braj and a big national leader. He had come to Surat in a car, and when we were distributing leaflets, he stopped his car and called me and inquired how the movement is going on. I said, we are doing the work and we are doing vigorously, and our work is going on nicely. And then Mr. Munshi was also arrested after some days.
Kanhaiyalal Munshi, na?
Kanhaiyalal
Munshi.
He was, I think, at the time of Hyderabad movement, Nizam was upset. He was, I think, governor of Andhra Pradesh. Kanhaiyalal Munshi. He was an eminent lawyer and Gujarati, our language. He was a writer, big writer also, and novelist. He was a very efficient man. So he also inquired, and he just encouraged us to just carry on without let or hindrance. So we just carried on. But on the 9th of February 1943, I was asked by the Congress party to lead the procession because 9th is the anniversary day. Monthly 9th August was the day when
yes.
So every 9th they wanted some big people to court arrest, take out big processions in defiance of the orders, Defense of India orders. And I took out that profession.
It happened throughout the country?
Yeah.
On each 9th of the month?
Yes. Every day it was going on, but on the 9th it was on a large scale.
Okay.
Satyagraha was carried out every day. But on the 9th it was a big procession. So many people participated. And I was the lead person to lead the procession as per the directions of the party. So I just led the procession. And
how many people were there approximately?
About 200-300 people were there.
Okay.
And two other boys were also with me. So the police started lathi charge, arrested 3 persons, including myself, and we were taken to police station. And at the police station, all the 3 were badly abused by the police, and the other 2
by
were...
words or physically?
Pardon, sir?
By words or physically abused?
Physically, by grace of God, I was spared because I looked so young, and other 2 looked so elderly, so they were beaten up and thrashed, but nobody touched me. I don't know why, but they thought that he's a young boy, why to beat him? So they did not touch me.
Your age was 16, 17
Yeah,
at
17,
that time?
17.
17.
So I was just spared. And what happened after that, we were put in the lockup. We are not removed to the Surat jail because in the jail something was going on. Some strike was going on by the political prisoners or something. So 2 days we were kept in the lockup. And on the 3rd day, we were just entrained and taken to Sabarmati Central Prison, Ahmedabad. So that way, I entered the Central Prison. Yes, before that we were put up in the court, and the court asked us whether you plead guilty or not. I said, we have not committed any offense, why to plead guilty? We are asking for the independence of the country. So he said, nothing doing, yes or no? He said, no, we are not pleading guilty. So he just gave the sentence of 6 months RI to me and the other 2 also.
Rigorous imprisonment?
Rigorous imprisonment, 6 months RI. And
what was the difference to ordinary imprisonment?
Ordinary imprisonment is where you are not to carry out certain works, which is according to jail rules, digging the roads and doing some min work, some cleaning work, all that. And rigorous imprisonment means you have to do all that sort of work. But being political prisoners, we are spared of this rigorous work. Why? Because at that time, Mr. Dada Saheb Maholankar, Ganesh Vasudev Maholankar, he was there detained in Sabarmati Central Prison. And because of his personality and influence, the jailer was also pleased and he entrusted the controlling and looking after the political prisoners to Mr. Maholankar. So virtually, Mr. Maholankar was our jailer. Actually, he was given so much liberty by the jailer, and Mr. Maholankar looked after us, looked after our well-being, looked after our foods and daily needs. And that way, in the jail, Mr. Maholankar treated us nicely. Because the jailer wanted the peace from the political prisoners. He never wanted any clamor or any movement by the political prisoners inside the jail. So for that reason, he entrusted everything to Mr. Maholankar, who subsequently became the first Speaker of the Indian Parliament. Mr. Maulankar was the first Speaker of Indian Parliament. He was a very efficient man, and in the jail also, he used to control the prisoners, including the criminals having high sentences like life terms or murder terms. He used to look after all the prisoners very nicely.
Can you describe the situation in the jail? How your cell looked? What was the furniture there?
In the cell, it was a small room, and in that small room, 2 or 3 persons were kept, political prisoners. It is called barrack. And
what was the size of the room approximately?
Approximately 6 by 6. 6 by 6. And outside there were water closets and toilets, and everything was outside in the compound. We are not locked. Our doors were open. Not like other things that at night everything they used to lock the door. No. As far as we political prisoners were concerned, our doors were not locked.
So you had a special ward only for political prisoners?
Yes, that was called a Chota Chakkar. In the jail term, it was known as Chota Chakkar.
Means?
Means having a cluster of about 40-50 rooms of this size, where all the political prisoners, including the detainees, were left out. Detainees were persons who were arrested just without anything trial. Detainees. Detained only on the orders of the government.
So you did not mix with the other criminals?
No. They were
segregated.
Okay. Of course, they used to do our work also in the kitchen also. Those lifetime prisoners and all that, they were involved. They used to work there also. And some of them were made mukadams. Mukadami, persons having long term of sentence, they were entrusted the duty to control the crowd and all that. So they used to move from area to area and see that everything is all right.
How many prisoners were in the jail in total, approximately?
At that time, I think about political prisoners were about 500.
500 political prisoners?
Yes, in the Sabarmati. Because it is the biggest jail of the state.
Okay.
All from all areas, people were arrested. They were lodged in Sabarmati.
And how many non-political prisoners?
Non-political prisoners were also, I think, about 300-400. Yes. There was a ladies section also, where lady prisoners were kept, and that was attended by ladies, lady convicts, mukadams, and all that.
During Quit India movement, lots of women took part, isn't it?
Yeah. Women also took part, and they were also looked after.
Was that inspired by Gandhiji, or was someone else responsible for this?
No, inspired by Gandhiji and other leaders also. Gandhiji was the main person. He was the tree. Others were branches, but we are all inspired by Gandhiji.
I see. Right.
So that was the magnetic attraction which Gandhiji commanded from the Indian masses. He influenced people by his non-violent and simplicity, truth, his way of life, his caring for the poor and downtrodden, and non-discrimination between Hindus and Muslims and all that. So that created a very big influence on the Indian masses, and people were just mad, and people just eager to follow Gandhiji, and they wholeheartedly supported him.
So you were in prison for how long in Sabarmati jail?
Up to the time when we got independence of 1947, 15th of August, 1947 we got independence.
For 4 years?
Yeah.
You were imprisoned in 1943?
I'm sorry, 1947 we got, 1945 I think. 1944-45. We got independence, and
Independence was in 47.
47.
August.
And thereafter, in 1950 or so, India became a republic.
But what did you do after release from
Yes,
prison?
after release from jail, I just rejoined my studies, and I completed my matriculation, and thereafter, after joining the college, 2 years in the college, up to intermediate arts, I joined law. And at that time, we were allowed to join law from inter arts. That 2 years after college studies, you can join law. And law course was only also for 2 years. So I just completed my law and became a lawyer. I just completed. Of course, some years were lost in this movement, but we never regretted that.
I was just wondering whether you regretted that or not afterwards in your professional career.
Yeah. After I passed my law examination, I started practice at Surat. Firstly, I joined with my father, who was doing taxation work, and I joined. I also started attending criminal courts. I was more attracted towards criminal matters because my father's office was crowded by other juniors and all that. So I just detached myself and tried to attend criminal courts, attend big criminal cases, and that way I attended criminal cases.
So
I remember having attended one income tax matter that was about the Chief Minister of Gujarat, Mr. Hitendra Desai. He was the Hitendra Desai. He was very good with me because he was my father's client. Besides, during the movement also, Hitendra, I came in touch with him. So he had got very good regards for me, very good affection for me. And so in one of his taxation matters, my father asked me to go and attend his taxation matter. Because his taxation matter was very simple, because he never used to hide any income. He was such a truthful man, commanding good regards and respect. So that was one thing. Then after that, there was one appellate matter, and I appeared along with Nani Palkiwala. He was also a very great taxation wizard. He was a lawyer for Tatas and Godrej and all big matters. So that was one significant thing which I attained after passing my law. After passing my law, I got Sanad, that is license to practice Sanad. And I started practice from 1950 onwards. In 1953, there was an advertisement for appointment as government lawyers, police prosecutors. So people advised me, why don't you apply? I say, I have only 3-year-old advocate, so just go and apply and see. I just applied for it, and luckily for me, the letter for interview came to me. I went to Pune for the Inspector General of Police. There were about 65 candidates, and out of 65 candidates, they just interviewed me, asked me to wait. Again recalled me, and again put some questions. What cases you have conducted? I say I have conducted one murder matter. What were the facts? I just narrated the facts. What happened to the case? I said, I just got an acquittal in that matter. I got my client out from that murder case. All right, wait. Then after that, out of 65 candidates, 6 persons were selected, and I was one of them. And I was appointed in Surat district at Moraji Bhai Desai's place, Valsad. Moraji Desai belonged to Valsad, so my first appointment was at Valsad. I just belonged to Surat city, therefore I was not given Surat city. I said go to Valsad, and I was just there at Valsad. So I started as a government lawyer and stayed there for about 1.5 years. Made good work. I was having good impression because I hailed from a good family, well-known family. Besides, my image was very clear. I never used to fight for wrong things. If there was no case, I would just tell the magistrate that there is no evidence against this man. We don't want to proceed.
This I just wanted to ask. Your involvement in the freedom struggle was only for 2-3 years at a pretty young age.
Yeah.
But how did this experience influence you in your personal life as well as in your professional life afterwards?
Certainly. You see, the biggest thing I learnt from this movement was, firstly, I am an early riser. Even today, I rise up early in the morning, do my course. I am not a night person waiting for long nights.
What time do you get up?
I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I go to bed at 9:30 to 10. I just don't attend any programs after 9:30 or 10. Even if the best of programs are coming on the TV, I just know. And by the grace of God, even today, from adopting the Gandhian methods of living the life, today, at the age of 82 years, you will be surprised. I have no specs. I can read for hours together, no number. I have no stomachache. I have no headache. I have no diabetes. I have no other disease except one thing. I have got some breathing trouble, asthmatic type trouble. When the doctor said that it is due to your age and because your lungs have gone weak, so these things are with the age. So you just go on keeping it under control. So that is the only trouble. Otherwise, I am able to eat. I get a very sound sleep. I have never known any sleeping tablets or anything. Besides, I also follow Ayurvedic medicines, Ayurvedic tunes and all that. And I don't take any antibiotics, never. I am against it. So that way, I am living a simple life. Of course, I have given much concession during my profession. I used to see how people are suffering, how to take them out. Suppose in the heat of moment, some persons have committed some offense. He doesn't become a criminal overnight. Due to the rush of blood, if he commits some offenses, we have just to give him the legal aid. And I was never after money, sir. Never. I was very reasonable. I looked to the persons, looked to his financial condition, and whatever they used to give me, I used to take it.
Are these virtues based on the freedom struggle or rather
freedom
your
struggle
parents'
as well as the deep-rooted sanskars, deep-rooted influence of my parents. My father was also very early riser. He used to walk miles together in the morning. Come what may be the season, even during the rains, he used to walk 5 miles a day. Similarly, my mother was very, very religious. I told you that she was a very tender-hearted woman. She used to go for darshan early morning, and we used to put some hot water for her for a bath. But at times, if the time is up, she would just open the tap and even take bath with cold water, but never used to miss her darshan. So these were the sanskars, and which we are fully, even till today, fully vegetarian. We don't have anything against vegetarian. Vegetarianism.
This is rooted in your community, in your faith, isn't it? That is a tradition of the Vaishnava community, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there anything you can say that you took from Gandhi, from your acquaintance with Gandhiji?
Yes. Gandhiji's influence was always there. Besides the influence of the parents, Gandhiji's influence, because during the jail, 6 months of jail, we learned so many things. First thing we learned was punctuality, purity, truth. We never tried to say untruth. Even in the courts also, we never tried to hide the truth. Sometimes, just for the sake of defense of the person, we have to take defense. That is a legal umbrella we used to give.
And what do you think we can learn from Gandhiji today in India or outside India?
See, we can learn many things, because when a man is born, he would like to see that he would lead a peaceful life. He would like to see that the society in which he resides, there is always peace and tranquility and respect for people, and try to do right things. If that is done, I think society will be purified. Whatever may be the nation, whatever may be the way of their life, whatever they may be, non-vegetarians or anything, or following any other religion. What Gandhiji has taught is like this: be truthful, love the people, trust in God, whatever may be. You may trust in Christ, you may have trust in Allah, you may have trust in whatever God you believe in. But the righteous way of living the life, peaceful life, tension-free life, that is what Gandhiji taught us. Today there is no tension. I can say at this age, at the age of 82, I have no tensions. I live a life of very peacefully, and I am really happy. There are no regrets in life. Whatever I have done, I am really happy. I think I have not done anything wrong. And if I find that I have done something wrong or told something wrong to anybody, I would very much repent. My subconscious will bite me, and I will try to correct myself. That is the way life can be carried on. Otherwise, today what is there? People are made after money. People are made after many things. They don't know how to live the life. Gandhiji told us, and by his own example, he taught, and I think the whole world should follow the tenets of Gandhiji. If there is to be world peace, if there is to be personal health and personal happiness, then that is the only way to lead life. Otherwise, this world is no good for people who indulge in drinks, who indulge in violence. They become unhappy, they make their entire family unhappy, they bring this taste for the country they live in, give bad name to the country. So that is not the proper way. So what Gandhiji said, Gandhiji was a world leader, and whatever he has taught, non-violence. People are killing people by revolver, this, that, within a second a man is finished. No, Gandhiji said, no. You give me one slap, and you will try to give another slap. That transport the assaulter. What Gandhiji did was, he tried even to win his enemies. Of course, opponents. He may not have enemies, but opponents. He tried to win over his opponents even by his straightforward methods and by his truthful methods. And therefore, Gandhiji is very important for the whole world if people want to, if nations want to lead life, and nations want to keep good relations with other nations, his policy is the best. And I think if that is followed, the day will not be far off when the world will witness a very peaceful world, a world which people will like, a world with people and generations together, or coming generations will also appreciate. So that is the teaching which Mahatma Ji gave. And that is his influence in the whole world.
You believe his values can be applied today?
Yeah. It is very
in today's
important.
Context.
Very important. So, in that aspect, if everything is followed, I think there will be complete peace. There will be no need for any wars or anything, because if love for money, love for power, and aggression will go away. So that is the thing. But so I am sorry to say that after independence, people have forgotten those values. Even we see violence in Kashmir, violence in the northeastern provinces, everywhere violence is going on. Because we are, after independence, these politicians have kept them aloof from Gandhian tenets. That is the result of the present day condition of the country. Of course, we freedom fighters, we are not happy whatever is going on today. By and large, the country has made progress. Financially, we are better off. Agriculturally also, we are better off. Education-wise also, we have made progress. But the entire administration is corrupt, by and large, I say like that. So that way we have gone far off from Gandhian teachings, and therefore we are suffering today.
Well, Mr. Jardosh, I thank you very much for the conversation. It was very interesting to speak to you. And this concludes the interview with Mr. Jardosh.
I am also very much thankful to you for getting time and for doing this good work. And I hope you will continue to do this good work and spread the message of Mahatma Ji, of world peace, quiet, truth, and everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That is Hindus, but Vaishnava sect. So it's a special religion followed by Vaishnavas who belong Lord Krishna.
Can you tell me more about that? What it particularly means?
We have got temples everywhere. We Vaishnavas, we are idol worshippers. We worship the idol of Lord Krishna, and we have got so many temples round about and spread all over India. And we are pure vegetarians. Vaishnavas are pure vegetarians, and we belong to a very large area of Hindus. They are Vaishnavas. There is no question of caste or anything. Amongst Hindus, all the castes, sub-castes, they are all concerned. They can follow Vaishnava religion. So that was a very wide religion.
And how did your childhood home look? How many rooms have you had at home? How many brothers and sisters lived there?
Yeah, we had and mother also took good care to see that we are educated. We are sent to school and colleges, and there was no restriction about that. They were very liberal-minded and very cooperative, guiding us, giving us inspiration for studies. Because my grandfather was a headmaster, and most of the prominent persons from Surat city, Diwan Bahadurs and Rai Bahadurs and big advocates, and they were all students of my grandfather. So my grandfather had earned a good name as a very fine teacher. And all big persons, they used to revere him like anything.
What were the political affiliations in your family? The political...
Yeah, politically, you see, politically, we are interested in the politics of the country. But actually nobody had taken any active part in politics. No. We are just good citizens and lovers of our country. We loved our country. All our family members had love for the country.
Mr. Jardosh.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me about your childhood? When and where were you born? In which atmosphere were you brought up?
I was born at Surat, now in the state of Gujarat, Surat city. And at that time, my grandfather, he was a headmaster in a government school. And my father, he was doing practice on the taxation side, income tax matters. And he was a high court pleader. And we are a middle class family, not so rich. We belong to a very middle class family, consisting of my grandfather, grandmother, mother, father, uncle. We are just a joint family. It was a joint family. And I was born on the 25th day of September 1923.
What is the religion of your family? Which community you belong to?
Yes, we belonged to Vaishnava sect of religion. Two-storied house, and one was the ground floor, other was a first floor, and second floor. This consisting of small rooms, 10 by 10, and small rooms, but it contained the entire family. I had 3 brothers and 1 sister. My eldest brother was Mr. Chandrakant Jardosh. He was also a freedom fighter. He expired. Then I was number 2. After me, my another brother was there, Mr. Madhusudan Jardosh. He had chosen teaching profession. He was a teacher. He was a headmaster. Then he shifted to London and established himself in London. Unfortunately, after staying there for about 15 years or so, he had some trouble and he expired.
You all got good education? What sort of
Yes.
education did you get?
All our brothers were all graduates. My father,
So how did you get involved in the freedom movement?
yes, because in the freedom movement, we are just reading the history and of our country, how India was under bondage for 150 years or more, and how the Britishers were exploiting our country. And so these things came to our mind, because we were good readers. I used to go to library, I used to read all sorts of magazines, including political magazines, and that way we are interested. Apart from it, we are also interested in the big leaders of our country. And in Surat city, when these big leaders came, we used to throng them. We used to go, and we never missed any occasion to see our great leaders like Gandhiji. You will not believe I have seen Gandhiji at an arm's length. From very short distance I have seen him.
When was that? What was
That was at the time of when I was just a boy of 15 years old, when my father took us to the Bardoli's Congress meeting. Bardoli is a district